What's up everyone, OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. And remember, we do drop daily gaming videos on this channel, so keep your eyes peeled all the time for the new videos going up. Now let's go ahead and start off with all eyes are on Nintendo Switch, or on Nintendo to see what the next big game reveal is. 2021 has been an absolute stacked year for Nintendo when it comes to exclusives. There have just been a ton of games. I think I counted somewhere around 17 to 20 or so pieces of exclusive content for Nintendo when it comes to the console side of things or at release. I mean, it was just pretty vast this year, from small games like the Garage Builder game all the way to the biggest games like Metroid Dread, Shin Megami Tensei, Monster Hunter, and more. So it's good to see that there is a variety of content on the platform for people to play. But what's the next big game Nintendo does have? Now next year, things are already going to be pretty stacked. We've got Pokemon Legends Arceus, we've got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, but what is the next big announcement going to be at a Nintendo Direct now that Bayonetta 3 is off of the list in terms of seeing the game and knowing that it's coming out in 2022? We do have Metroid Prime 4, we still need to see the reboot of that and how it looks at this point, but what's the next big game that hasn't been announced yet? These games have been announced and we're just waiting on them or waiting for more information. What's the next big announcement and when will that come? Well, I'm here to break it down for you guys based off of the history of what Nintendo has and also based off of a few things I've heard here and there. So I think heading into next year, Nintendo will have a Nintendo Direct, a spring Nintendo Direct. They usually have one within the first 3 to 4 months of the year. Now, sometimes they will have a Nintendo Direct Mini. I remember particularly in 2018, there was a Nintendo Direct Mini in that year to show off stuff like The World Ends With You on the Nintendo Switch and also Dark Souls as well, that port. But I don't think they're going to go that route this time. I think they're going to go the route of waiting and having a bigger Nintendo Direct, and that next big game will be revealed there. Now, I've talked about it before on this channel, and I think I needed to somehow swerve the conversation around to when we're going to talk about this next big game, but we have to discuss it, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, the rumors out there, and I have previous videos on this, so please make sure you check out my Xenoblade Chronicles 3 information and rumors that's out there. But the previous info out there is that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be an extremely ambitious title for Nintendo. You are going to see a game that's built for the ground up for the Nintendo Switch, and not a game that's kind of built with the Wii U in mind and then putting it on the system, because that's essentially what Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and also Xenoblade Chronicles 2 The Golden Country are, even though those aren't built on the Wii U. Those aren't for that system. They were built on that same engine that was ported over, and they didn't make all the upgrades and enhancements that they wanted to before they completed Torna. Now, there was some of them in that, and the game can look beautiful. And trust me, I love the graphics in the game, but there's definitely a little bit more to be desired when it comes to the overall scope of the game, and also having the Takahashi Team 1 on there. A lot of people don't know that the two Xenoblade Chronicles games that are currently on the Nintendo Switch are not from the full team of Monolith Soft, the #1 team. It was about 40 people or so with some outside contracted help that did Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Torna was made with an even smaller team. So we still haven't had that Xenoblade Chronicles X level team when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. And I think that's where Xenoblade Chronicles 3 actually has that, towards the Takahashi Team 1, and they've been working on this game for quite some time. Now, there's also been some rumors about a new IP that they're working on, and maybe that is something, maybe a side team is making that, I'm not really sure. But from what I understand and the information that I've gathered at this point, that there is a Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and it was actually even supposed to be shown this year, but because of COVID and because of a couple other different things, they ended up pushing the reveal of that game to next year, 2022. And I think that if it's going to be revealed next year, it's going to launch next year as well, just like they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch, where they revealed the game and also launched it in the same year back in 2017. So I feel that's exactly what's going to happen, and I think that this game, even if you're not a Xenoblade Chronicles fan, I think that it's going to be something to at least look at when it comes to what the Switch can do when you have a ground up RPG built for for the system. And I think that Xenoblade Chronicles, Monolith Soft, we saw what they did on the Wii U, and that game still to this day looks absolutely spectacular considering the hardware that it's running on. And now with the Nintendo Switch, they have a lot more resources and more power to tap into when it comes to the system. So I think that this could be one of the most impressive looking games on the Nintendo Switch, and I feel that it's going to be a somewhat semi-reboot for what Monolith Soft does, which they've been doing kind of the same style of battle with different gameplay hooks, which can kind of hook some fans more than not. But I think that this time it's still going to be Xeno, but I think they're going to do a number of things differently within the combat to make it have a little bit more of a universal appeal. So we'll see if that actually comes into fruition here. But those are my thoughts. I think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is definitely going to be the next major game to be announced or to be revealed at a Nintendo Direct. I feel that it was supposed to happen this year, but maybe they wanted to get that Bayonetta 3 announcement in there before this one, or there could have been some issues, or they're still working on the last bits before they show it off. But I think that it's going to be a sight to behold when it finally does happen. And even if you're not a Xenoblade fan, I think that you might be looking forward to seeing at least what they have here, because I think it'll be pretty impressive for the Nintendo Switch platform. So what are your thoughts on what I think here with the next major Nintendo Switch game being revealed? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you feel it's something different, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, we have some very good news for two big fall/holiday Nintendo Switch titles. And yes, that is Metroid Dread and Shin Megami Tensei 5. Both of these games were nominated at the Game Awards for the highest honor within their respective genres, and also with Metroid Dread with the overall game of the year. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Metroid Dread and if it can reach the highest sales amount that any other Metroid game in the franchise has ever reached in at least 1 year's time with the 3 million sales. Now, it's off to a very good start. It's actually already sold well over 1 million units, and that's not even up to date. That was just as of October, and it's still in the top charts when it comes to Amazon and also the eShop as well within the top 10. So the game is continuing to do well, and now you bring in this nomination for Game of the Year and multiple other nominations as well. That is only going to be a big help for Metroid Dread. And if I know Nintendo, based off of what they've done the past couple Game Awards, they're definitely going to be spending some advertising dollars on there and showing off Metroid Dread. And also, they're going to link it up with, hey, this is a Game of the Year nominee. Here's a commercial for the game. Oh, by the way, there's a demo that you can go play right now at this point. And I think that the kill blow here is if they actually do a little bit of a percentage discount, like the Game Awards usually has some discounts with games. If they actually link up to say, hey, if you play the demo, you can get a percentage off, or there might be 10% off the game or something like that. It probably wouldn't be a big discount if they decide to do it. But if Nintendo even did that, man, it is lights out for that 3 million prediction when it comes down to it, which I do think that it'll comfortably reach because it's well ahead of other Nintendo Switch games that have sold 3 million in a year or less. So I'm actually not too worried about that. But at the same time, you definitely want to get as much as you can when it comes to a franchise like Metroid, which has struggled to sell well in the past and really kind of hasn't lived up to what the quality of the game is in terms of sales. The quality of the game, it should obviously be doing a lot better than what it actually does, but it does seem like fans have responded a lot better this time than what they did before. So it's very good to see Metroid Dread, and very good news for Mercury Steam and Nintendo on that front. And I'm happy for them because this is the first time that Mercury Steam has came anywhere close to a Game of the Year nomination for anything. So it's good to see them and Nintendo work together with their team. Sakamoto and his team work together to get a great game out, and a return of the Queen, Samus, to the landscape of Game of the Year at a big show. So I'm very happy for that. Now, next up, it's Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'm actually a little shocked. I just got chills right now, to be honest, that this game got nominated for RPG of the Year. I thought it'd be a little bit too late. I thought that they would say, oh, it's Shin Megami Tensei, you know, it's not a good enough game, which I don't think it's going to win, but it doesn't need to win. Same thing goes with Metroid Dread. I think Metroid Dread has a better shot at winning, which I'll give my full predictions and I'll go over everything later. But I think Metroid Dread has a good shot to win Game of the Year. I'm not sure if Shin Megami Tensei 5 has a shot to win the RPG of the year because Tales of Arise is there. And we already talked about the debacle and disgrace of Cyberpunk being in the RPG of the year, so I'm not going to go over that again. But to see Shin Megami Tensei 5, a Nintendo Switch core RPG, exclusive in the ranks of that is just incredible. I love to see it. It's such a great thing, and I think that it's going to help the game. It's going to help the game do a lot better, especially for hardcore RPG fans that are watching this show. And I think I would say this, with Shin Megami Tensei 5 and everything, the reviewers did get the game well beforehand. They got it in like early October, I think, or so. So reviewers definitely got it early enough for them to get it into this show. So I'm very happy to see that. And man, this is just going to be better and better for Shin Megami Tensei going forward. Also, I'd like to note too, with Shin Megami Tensei 5, from what we understand with the sales so far, it's actually doing a lot better than what we thought it was going to do in some regions like the UK. Now, later this week on Thursday, there will be the first Famitsu sales charts, which goes over the physical retail charts in Japan, and it's expected to have a pretty big launch there. But I want to see exactly what Sega and Atlus have to say about the sales here in the West. I think that's going to be pretty cool to see that, because usually SMT games all sell whatever they're going to sell like in the first week or a couple weeks, then they're pretty much done. So I'm looking forward to seeing how big the launch sales are, in addition to how the game can kind of do over the course of time. And stuff like the Game Award nominations gives it extra promotion and more people to get a chance to check out the game. So I love to see it when games like Shin Megami Tensei 5 get a chance at a really big stage like the Game Awards. So what do you guys think about these two games, Metroid Dread and also SMT 5? How the Game Awards is going to boost their appeal and boost potential people seeing the games and getting more people to try it out. That's what I love about the Game Awards. It's the games. It's the games more so than anything, and people kind of saying, okay, let me check this game out, or let me see if there's a demo, or whatever the case is. So what do you think about that? In addition to the next big game that I talked about with Nintendo, I would love to hear your thoughts on everything in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.